Excellent, good. I saw it. I saw it. Awesome. I think it's fair to say this is an absolute dream position for black. Let's check out the factors. Couple of bishops facing the king. You always have this option of doubling rooks in the French. The queen is already very well placed, and there's this chance of d4 check from the bishop. A dream position for black. How does Carlsen win with the French defense in style? Well, you're going to find out in this video. Magnus Carlsen takes on 17-year-old US Grandmaster Brandon Jacobson. This was a bullet game. Both sides have 1 minute each on the clock. Part 2 of the video is the live recording, but part 1 will be the opening theory to the French defense. Advanced variation. If it's your first time here, hello, my name is William. Let's begin. Throughout the video, I will make suggestions, so then you can apply them in your own games. Timestamps are below if you want to skip to a section. Part 1 is the opening theory to the French defense. Let's check it out. e4, e6, d4, d5. Black strikes in the center, and he's got backup from this pawn. So if white takes, you can just take back. This is known as the exchange variation. But we won't look at this in this video. d5, e5, the advanced variation. White gets space in the center, but it's important as a French player to attack the pawn chain with c5. c3, white maintains the pawn chain. Knight c6, you attack the pawn chain again. Knight f3, white defends his center. Bishop d7. Notice what black has done so far. Knight, bishop already developed. So next up, he's going to get these pieces out, then he'll castle. Bishop d3, knight e7. Planning to go knight g6 to put pressure on the central pawn. So if white took, then knight g6, and notice both knights attack the center. Black bishop attacks the pawn, so he's going to get pawn back. White cannot defend both pawns at the same time. That's why it is possible to play the move knight e7. Castle knight g6. Putting pressure here. Bishop's going to come out, and then you castle. Rook e1. Bishop e7. Knight a3. Planning to bring the knight back in the game. Maybe knight c2. Castle. 9 moves in. 9 good moves. Knight, bishop. Then the other knight. Bishop, and then castle. Knight c2. Black needs to put pressure in the center. He's got less space. So it's time to attack this pawn chain. C takes d4, take, and now f6. So if you get this kind of position in your games, you may want to play this. You take in the center, and then you go f6. The point of the French defense is to chip away at white center. You play f6, and if a capture happens, you can take back with a bishop or a rook. f6 played. Bishop d2. F takes e5 was played in the game, but one option is just to play queen e8 first. Queen defends the knight. So if you get this position in your own games, you may want to play this. Put the queen here, defend the knight. You threaten to take in the center, so then you open up the rook for the f-file. You can put the other rook here as well. In the future, maybe this knight can come to f4. So many possibilities for black. Part 1 is now over. Part 2 is now the live recording of the bullet game. e4, e6, d4, d5, French defense, e5, c5, c3, the advanced variation, knight c6, knight 3, bishop d7. Now where's that knight going? Knight g6 putting pressure here, probably going to capture. Bishop e7, typical way to break it up. Now you take and go f6, take, take, and then the bishop also faces there. Also queen b6 is one idea. Take, take, play. Now bishop faces this way. This looks like a really good version of the French. Now queen e8, queen g6 attacking. Bishop d2. F takes e5 played, but queen e8 was better. Now after f takes e5, white actually took back in the center, but one annoying option is actually just to double the pawns. This was an option Jacobsen missed, because after take, take, then these two pawns are quite ugly, and even though black has the bishop pair and is quite open, this bishop tends to be the problem in the French. He can't really get out so quickly. However, in the game, take, take, bishop c5. Bishop lines up with the rook. Maybe even queen b6. Or maybe, as mentioned before, the queen can actually come to this side of the board. Bishop c5 played. Bishop c3. White wants to control the square, d4 square, and he's got control of 3 pieces. Knight now comes into f4. Bishop back to f1 and queen e8. Now Carlsen brings his queen to the other side. So if we look at this position, If you get this position in your own games, you may want to play this. The queen can come out to g6 or to h5. Couple of options. If you put the queen here, you face the king, and you give yourself this chance. This check on h3. Queen here, check, attacking the king. If you put the queen on h5, this is another way to play. When you put it here, then you give yourself the chance to play g5, g4. Also queen b6 is one idea. Take, take, play. Now bishop faces this way. This looks like a really good version of the French. Now queen e8, queen g6 attacking. Queen g6 played. Also knight h3 is a threat. Rook f7, rook f8. I wonder if he plays rook f8. Okay, doesn't sack the knight. Knight 4, queen h6, bishop d2, nothing here with g5. Okay, knight f4 is there. Because then queen to, okay, played by Carlsen. Now you pick up that knight, take, take, and d4. d4 check, game over. g3, knight can't go here due to the bishop, so it has to go back. So knight h5 played, knight h4. White attacks the queen. Queen h6, queen now faces the king. f4 played, which was a blunder from Brandon, and now black is crashing through in style. Even if he didn't have this move, maybe he could play like g5 just to find a way to open up the file for the rook. So g5 is possible, and after take, take, the black pieces are just flying. You can double. That pawn is now under attack. Continuous pressure from the bishop, so that knight cannot move. So many possibilities for black. But after f4, black now crash through. Knight takes f4, and the point is you can't take this because that knight is hanging. When this happens, now this pawn is under attack from rook and queen. White is going to lose a second pawn, and his king is so weak. Knight takes f4, Carlsen crashes through. Knight takes c6, but this only helps black because after bishop takes c6, I think it's fair to say this is an absolute dream position for black. Let's check out the factors. Couple of bishops facing the king. You always have this option of doubling rooks in the French. The queen is already very well placed, and there's this chance of d4 check from the bishop. A dream position for black. Take. Bishop d2, he retreats. So bishop d4 was needed because you've got to stop the bishop giving a check. Because after this, there is no check from this at the moment. Take, take, and then the game goes on. You can go rook f8, along with g5. Still can't take because that knight is under attack. You can go g5 next, just force that knight away. So let's say g5 and knight g2. Now knight h3. Knight f2 check looks very dangerous. So much pressure from black. In the game, bishop d2 was played. Why? Because pinning the knight to the queen. But d4 check, this is just so dangerous. Knight g2, only way to block. Knight takes g2. Even though the bishop attacks the queen, there's no time to take it. If you take it, then it's game over. It's got to be. Knight e1 check, game over. The king has to move. Now d3 check. And we can take. Couple of bishops slicing the board. Gorgeous checkmate. Therefore, white has no time to take the queen. Bishop takes g2. Pause the video now or let the timer run. Can you find a brilliant move for black? A brilliant way to finish the game. I'm really glad I saw this live, as I mentioned in my commentary. The brilliant move is queen h3. You can't take due to this. White now played bishop takes bishop. If you go rook e2, finding a way to defend, then you go d3. And there's no good spot for the rook. Also, this bishop is now in the game. Bishop takes bishop played. And this is the cool move because even though white just took your bishop doesn't mean you have to take back straight away. This is the cool follow-up, and I'm really glad I saw it live. Rook f2. Threatening queen h2 checkmate, and there is no good way to stop it. So, white resigned. A wonderful crushing victory from Carlsen with the French defense. Knight f4 is there. Because then queen to, okay, played by Carlsen. Now you pick up that knight, take, take, and d4. d4 check, game over. It's almost game over. Wow, knight g2, I love it. I love it. Queen h3, just do queen, oh, rook f2. Too much. Queen h3 played. You're just using the pin on the diagonal. And take rook f2, come on. Intermezzo, excellent. Excellent, good. I saw it. I saw it. Awesome. This is a bonus puzzle to end the video. This was one of the possible variations in the game. After d4 check, Brandon played king g1. Now it is checkmate in 3 moves. Can you see it? Let me know in the comments below. Here is YouTube's suggestion for what to watch next, but if you don't like their suggestion, here's mine. Magnus Carlsen wins in 21 seconds versus Daniel Naroditsky in the modern defense.